Here we go. Episode number 34 of the Coffee with Joffrey podcast. Hope everyone's doing well in isolation, in the quarantine, staying fit, staying strong, staying healthy. Wanted to do a podcast today about fitness being more than just exercise and about finding a community. And I couldn't think of anybody better to get on than Craig Harriman from Base 3. For those of you that don't know, you might know this. I started coaching down at Base 3 at the start of the year. I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to come down, and it was kind of just casual to begin with, come in and coach some classes and get back into that gym environment. And then things have led on from there. So thankful for Craig for that. But just wanted to, because I see a lot online at the moment, and it's pretty good, to be honest. When I look at the situation and what's happening with gyms and personal trainers and classes and that type of stuff, it's a real tough time. But what I see is a lot of people kind of pulling together and being really kind of imaginative with how they can continue to inspire and help people with their fitness without actually being face-to-face with them. But we'll get into that a little bit more. Craig, welcome back.
I was going to say, repeat guest.
Yeah, episode number 12 you're on. That was Fitter,
right.
Faster, Stronger with Simon. Go and check that one out if you haven't listened to that one already.
Before we go any further, I think we're also very lucky to have you join the team at Base 3 and join our community. So
yeah, man, it's been awesome.
A great journey so far. So thank you for coming down.
In fact, from when I walked in and just started coaching classes, it was, and the reason that I've got you to come onto this podcast as well, because obviously you've been building Base for 3 years now. 3 years or 4 years?
3 years.
3 years. And it's very obvious how tight-knit your community is down there. From even, your basic fundamentals, people who are just coming into the gym, right up to your kind of competitive guys. It's a real friendly environment. And, I'm a coach. I'm used to walking into CrossFit gyms in slightly intimidating environments, but all it takes sometimes is just someone to come over and have a conversation with you and ask some questions. And your members did that for me as a coach. So I'm sure it's happening with the members as well, which is great.
Yeah, they're a cool bunch of guys.
Okay, so I titled this one, Stop Looking for Fitness, Look for a Community. And I posted something about this about probably 3 or 4 months ago. And it got quite a lot of likes and shares and stuff. And not that I'm putting anything on that, but it's always nice to see. And listen, I went from being someone who trains by myself to being someone who went and coached in the gym. So I never really had that opportunity to go and join a gym and join classes and kind of join a community without being kind of the head of that community. I don't know if you've had that, Craig, have you?
Nah, not to be a part of it without being, like you said, part of kind of a leader in that community. No, I've been on this side of the fence in many different communities, but never been on the receiving end.
Yeah, so it's always like looking at that situation. But the amount of people that I see walk into, both our backgrounds is CrossFit gyms predominantly. So someone coming into that kind of group environment, that kind of gym, who's been training by themselves for on and off for 10 years, maybe. They've never really got into the shape that they've wanted to. Gym has always been a kind of, what's happened there? Hang on, technical difficulties there. I think, Grace, did you just log in then? Okay, we'll carry on. So a lot of people who have been training on and off for the last 10 years, not seeing the results. Exercise is like a chore for them. They don't enjoy it. It's just the daily hustle and bustle of trying to keep the weight off, that type of stuff. To join an environment where they actually enjoy it, going to the gym, they make friends, they're willing to turn up, put the work in and kind of get the rewards from that. Is that kind of what you've seen as well?
Yeah, completely. And it's almost like going back to a lot of people played sport growing up and enjoyed being a part of a team. So they're on the football team or whatever growing up. As I kind of relate it to that, or use that as the example. It's fitness, so it's training. It's sometimes really difficult and really strenuous, but you're doing it in a very motivating environment with people that are also very motivated and want to be in the same environment. So it's just kind of that's what I get from it, is kind of just the banter you get from being at football practice. You get the same in a CrossFit class with your mates. And it's just, like you said, not a chore anymore to go down, and you're not just working out, you're actually going there to hang out with people that are into the same thing as you, which in itself is a motivation. You kind of feel like you belong to a group of people, which I think is, especially being in this part of the world. I know CrossFit and group classes are popular everywhere, but in Dubai, where it's a predominantly expat community that are doing CrossFit, it's kind of just the belonging. So you tend to, and this could just be my opinion, I don't know if other people feel the same way, but it's that sports team environment, especially when you've been, if you've got mates that you're rivals within the gym. Like I can think of a lot of the 7 a.m. guys in base 3 that are constantly just calling each other out or messaging each other during the day about the next day's workout. And I think that makes it way more inviting and way less intimidating to be a part of.
Yeah, so that kind of ties into like accountability, we would call it, from kind of peers in your class that you meet, the friends that you meet. But then the benefit of joining the community is you get accountability through the gym as well, right?
Yeah, and as coaches of any gyms, that's one of the main things. You always try and figure out the best way or a good way to keep people accountable, because in order for them to get results, they have to commit to it long term and put the work in. In order to do that, you want to make sure you're being held accountable. And one of the ways that we try to do that is to create, like I said, a community of people that are all after the same thing, create a really good training environment and get really cool people in there, which makes it easier for you to want to be a part of that group of people. And they just naturally start creating accountability for themselves. And you can do things like have really awesome programming and have really good coaching and have really good systems for tracking progress. But that will only take people so far. And that's kind of, you can, those type of facilities are quite common now. You get really good facilities with really good coaches and really good gyms. But what makes a really successful CrossFit gym that will, or group training facility that will encourage people to keep coming back time and time again, is fostering a strong community and having members that will do that for you. I remember speaking to someone, and I think it was Diego, and he was saying that, and he's been in CrossFit gyms since they started, and he was saying, you know, when you've made it, when your community organizes social events and you don't have to have anything to do with it. And our guys do that. You'll see people that are, like, when it's not quarantine, is go to like brunches or go and do bike rides or go to the beach and stuff. And it's all people from your community that never knew each other before that are now getting together and arranging to do things. And it's good for you, because you don't have to be the organizer of all these events, but there's creating social interaction. And this was all birthed by just them coming to work out.
Yeah, and that ties in. It's funny you should say that. I was looking at the base for Instagram this morning, and one of the 6 a.m., I think it was Tracy, had baked a cake and sent it to all the other members of her group. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, which is incredible. I saw that, but I didn't get any cake.
Oh,
So that's
well, this is
the one benefit, is the guys are doing it for each other, but you also get excluded from that because you're not involved. So yeah, I missed out on cake, but yeah, I did see that. Was pretty cool. I was going to bring that up in this episode as well. As one of the, it was Tracy who sent out cake to people. So guys, if you didn't receive your cake yet, hit Tracy up.
Yeah, we need to. So how can someone, if you're someone listening to this and you're still in fact, let's just stick on this point on, finding that accountability. One of the things that I know was when I worked in like a big commercial gym, it was Fitness First, like it doesn't matter, most people know anyway. When people were coming into the gym, it was the front of house guys. One of their jobs was to call everybody by their first name when they walked into the gym, to give them a sense of feeling, belonging, you know who that person is, which is kind of like that step one of what I would class as like good accountability, building a good community. But it has to go further than that these days, doesn't it? Yeah. Just someone calling you by your first name doesn't tie you in, doesn't really offer you what you need. How about a different situation where you go in, and let's just use a coaching example, and a coach says, hey, Craig, how's the shoulder feeling today? I know that you said it was hurting a little bit yesterday. And just as a coach, remembering all those kind of personal details, that's how you make someone kind of feel like they belong to the gym and they're in the right place.
Yeah, and that's when coaches and gym owners have to really, that's the difference, is you can go to any gym and, like I said, get good quality programming, good quality coaching in a very nice, shiny facility. But people who actually care is going to be the differentiator there. And people, like, you've got to find coaches. If you're a business owner or a head coach, you've got to find coaches that genuinely do give a shit about the people they're coaching and want to see them progress and want to see them get the results that they want to get as well for the coaching success and the business success, but also because they give a shit about the people they're training.
Yeah.
And again, that falls back into creating a good environment and creating a good community. But then and I do, and I know my coaching team does, generally gives a shit about the people they're training at, it makes it way easier to create that environment. And I was going to bring up something else about, it still baffles me where you get people come in and they're like, oh, it's awesome here. You greet me by my name every time you walk in. And I was like, where were you training before? And why were they not doing that? It's still in this day and age now where you've got to be, especially in this climate of the economy at the moment, where it is tough being a small gym and a small business, you have to be really doing everything you can to offer the best possible service. And that's very easy to do if you're motivated to create that environment. But if you're not going above and beyond and offering people like that level of service, then you're definitely going to drown pretty soon. And I don't think it's not even above and beyond anymore. That's the minimum expectation, is like what you just explained, is making sure you know your members by name. You know what they do for a living. You know how many kids they've got and where they live. If you don't know all the stuff about everybody that's in your gym, then you're probably not going to keep those members around very long.
I think the best one to do, like just what has worked well for me as a coach in the past, is simply, someone who's just coming into training, just getting into, exercise. You say, hey, how many times are you going to train this week? I'm going to train 3 days. Okay, so tell me what days you're going to train. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Awesome, cool. I'm going to make sure you're here on Tuesday. I want to make sure that I see you. And just those little things, you get that accountability. It doesn't cost them any more to have that accountability. And they just go, oh man, I told the coach I was going to be out on Tuesday, so I need to make it. And it's all those kind of small little percentages that are going to make sure you do your workout, which potentially means that you get the results that you want. Whereas if you've not got anybody who's kind of holding you accountable or relying on you to be there, all it takes is the smallest inconvenience to happen in your day, feeling a little bit tired, work arrangements change, family arrangements change, and it's the case of you missing a workout and there being no consequences to do about that. And I always feel like, listen, we can't be motivated 100% of the time, and I'm definitely not motivated 100% of the time. I'm sure you're not either. There are champions out there who are winning the CrossFit Games and professional athletes who can stay pretty motivated a lot of the time and go and, red line a workout and then end the session on the floor in a sweaty mess, and do that on a day-to-day basis without having anybody rely on them. But you'll find that a lot of those guys these days have coaches as well.
Yeah.
And that accountability side of it. All right, so let's move on then. How can, if people are stuck in like a gym at the moment and they aren't part of a community and maybe they feel a bit intimidated to get into that, maybe they feel like they don't need it now, is there good ways of trying to find a community?
So if I reverse engineered this, how I would look for, so if you're a person looking for a good community, we're a good community looking for good people to join our community. So how I would go about that is look to the people inside of my community to bring in people they think would enjoy that. And that's probably the best way for you to try and generate more business, is to find friends of friends, because word of mouth is going to be the best recommendation anyone can get. So if you know someone, and chances are someone knows someone who's fit or goes to the gym, is just ask them what they do for training. So if people are looking for just to get started, you'd say, oh, my mate Bob works out. Where does Bob work out? I'll join Bob for a workout. Or if oh, Joff trains at this place that he's always talking about, or Von's always posting about base rehash. I love this place. Can't wait to get back in the gym. Is ask them people. And I'm sure, and if everyone knows someone who works out, and if you don't know anybody that's doing that type of thing, is I say just look on their social media. I think that's the best place to shop for anything these days, but particularly things with like fitness is a very visual product. So a lot of gyms nowadays will spend quite a lot of effort on their social media. And if you want, depending on what type of level of fitness you're at and what you're looking for, is if you find somewhere that offers, so we're quite base 3, not a hardcore training facility, but we train pretty hard. Doesn't mean we've got elite CrossFitters in our gym, but we've got people that like to push themselves. But I still tried to make it fairly obvious that we're a community-driven, very supportive crowd. and we try and make that evident on our social media. So I think shopping on there and think, oh, these guys look like they're having fun. These people are high-fiving and fist-bumping. I think those would be your main places if you were looking to get into finding that community. But then how many people don't know, how many people won't have the luxury of listening to this podcast and then understanding the benefit of community would be the next challenge, right? So if you've got someone who's struggling to find motivation, that's going to the gym, not really making results, how do they know that they need a community, and how do they know the benefits a community would give them for their motivation, I guess, would be the other struggle.
Yeah, and I think one of the big points to kind of talk about is that there will be, you know, like a price point of a gym is going to be something that people consider, you know, like everybody's trying to save money where they can and find the best deal. You know, bigger, fancier gyms with all the equipment, they're great business models for getting as many people in as they can, sign them up for the year at a very, very low rate. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. Like if that's what you want to do. My only issue with that is that are those people the ones who are motivated to go and do it? And I kind of referenced a minute ago, I was saying, you know, people not turning up to the gym because they don't feel accountable to it. You know, if you're someone who signs up for a gym because of the cost and it's over anything, over location, over parking, over coaches, and you're literally making your decision based on price, and you pay up front for the year and you get a really good deal. If you only go to the gym 12 times and you'll probably pay, it's a lot per session.
Use,
yeah. So it's just kind of looking back at your why. Like, are you joining a gym because you really mean it and you want to get some kind of results from it? You want to improve this, improve that, or are you joining the gym for the sake of joining the gym? At the end of the day, right? If we all had an unlimited budget, and you know, celebrities have their own personal trainers, so you'd have your own personal trainer 5 days a week. That would be the perfect thing for you. They're going to tell you exactly what you need to do. They're going to help you with all different areas of your life. We don't all have that luxury of being able to afford a personal trainer. So what's the next best thing? You would probably say like small group training with a personal trainer, maybe 3 or 4 people in a group that you train with regularly. After that, we're looking at classes, and aren't we? Like group classes, you know, people who are like-minded as you, similar position, all working towards the same goal. And then I would say the bottom of that is just turning up for a facility.
Yeah. And then there's a good point is all the things we've spoke about until now with regards to what a community actually is. You don't get that from joining a Globo gym. If you pay 1,000 dirhams for a year's membership and it's on you to turn up and do the work, if you're not motivated, that's what you get for that price point. Versus if you pay something that's 1,000 dirhams a month, you get coaches that give a shit, that will keep you accountable, make sure you come into the gym, and that way you'll get results. If you're a super motivated individual and you can just put your headphones in and go off and just bang out 10,000 push-ups on your own, then you're probably not going to necessarily need someone to make sure you're coming to the gym every day. But if you want results and you know you're not the most disciplined of person, or you don't genuinely just love going and training, then you're definitely going to get value out of the commitment a community will give you.
And one thing that's interesting from that point is that I've seen it happen lots when people maybe leave a gym and they don't leave a gym. Like there might be different reasons why they've left it, whether it's price point, move location, that type of stuff. But most of those people, not that I stalk them, but most of those people will go and join another community. Do you find that as well?
Yeah.
Very rarely do they go off and just go and start training by themselves. Maybe they do, but from my experience, it doesn't last very long. Like people like to be part of a community. And once they've kind of found how powerful it is, there's no going back from that.
And it's quite common to, when you get people that join our community, it's like, yeah, I used to train at this gym, and they're talking like 2 years back. So they were, for whatever reason, part of a community, moved for whatever reason, and then struggled to get back to where they were. Everyone comes back with a similar kind of theme. It's, yeah, I used to do this. I used to be a really good shape. I want to get back to that, because whilst they were being held accountable by their community, they were getting results. And they stopped and either tried to do it on their own or just didn't have the time to train anymore. And they obviously stopped getting results, and they're looking to be back part of that because they value that experience.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to you a little bit more then, in terms of, let's talk personal to begin with, and then talk about business as well, in terms of like, obviously we're in a position now, the isolation. How's that going for you?
Yeah, it's not too bad. So I love being in the gym. Like I said, everything I've just spoke about for the last however long is genuine, and I love our community in the group of people that we have in our gym. But my ultimate goal is to have online programming business, which I've now been forced for the last 3 weeks to adapt to, which is it's not ideal because the circumstances are obviously it's forced and it's not our choice to make this decision. And we've obviously got a lot of people in our community that have been very supportive and are being patient as we come up with these new programs, but it's not what anybody actually wants. So it's kind of weird. Like I'm enjoying the process of learning to adapt to being online, but at the same time, I know it's not what people actually want. So it's kind of this back and forth for me personally. Selfishly, I'm enjoying it. I think I like the challenge. From a business perspective, like I said, it's not ideal. We've got obviously like a bunch of people on freeze because they can't get access to the gym, and there are only. And one thing that is interesting is I find myself doing a lot more work, even though we're catering to far less people. So say half of our guys are on freeze, we've only got half the members we usually have to do it. But because we do 15 people into 1 hour, we get a lot of contact time in a short period of time. And then now we're having to spend a lot of time trying to contact people, even though it's less people. So working harder to accommodate less people as a business perspective, it's not a great business model. And yeah, times are tough, but I think I've said it many times since this is all happening is the strong will survive, and people who are willing or are able to learn and adapt will come out of this. And I think there's a massive opportunity. I think people are going to realize this whole thing as people who are fit and healthy will come out of this relatively unscathed from a health perspective. And I think after this, health and fitness is going to become way more important than it was prior to this happening. So that's one thing I'm kind of excited about in a weird way, that this pandemic's brought on. And I'm not an expert on it, so I don't want to talk to it too much, but I'm sure this is going to get way worse before it starts getting any better. But I can see the other side of this, people taking their health and fitness a lot more serious, not from a I'm going to become an elite CrossFitter perspective, but just valuing their own health and wellness. And I think we talk about what fitness is to us, and people see us throwing bars around or training really hard and smashing ourselves from the assault bikes. Is we actually enjoy that type of stuff, and that's why we do it. But the bigger picture is just moving your body is so important, and the respiratory value that having good cardiac fitness offers is massive when it comes to fighting and preventing disease. And I think something like this, as scary as it is going to force people to realize that was kind of a bit of a tangent from your question.
No, I like it, because I'll build on that. So post isolation, COVID-19, do you think the fitness industry is going to be booming? Do you think people,
I think it'll be different.
People have missed it?
Yeah, I think so. For myself personally, is 3 weeks ago, it would be 4 weeks ago, a week before we actually had to lock up the gym, is I just jumped on a new training program because I'd qualified for this competition, and I was very focused on training, and I was up my volume and lifting heavier and pushing myself. And then that event got cancelled, the gym got shut. I haven't trained that hard once in the last 3 weeks, or not even thought about it until M brought it up yesterday. I'm like, yeah, I haven't even thought about it, because my priorities have changed. I've gone from having this luxury of being able to train hard and choose to do this competition to now not being able to do this competition. I still have the resources to be able to train hard if I wanted to, but it's just not important anymore. What's important is that I stay healthy and I'm able to maintain a good level of fitness, so I'm a better chance of preventing becoming sick. But my goals have completely changed. It's kind of been forced out of my hands to choose what's important to me right now, and I'm choosing to stay healthy and just stay active, which I feel is important. And I'm not unmotivated, I'm not bored or missing training. I'm happy with what I'm doing, and I'm happy knowing that I'm doing enough to stay healthy.
Yeah, and it's about finding that. I hate to use the word balance because it gets thrown around all the time, but it's just finding that balance as well, like doing enough to keep yourself ticking over. I guess as coaches, you're kind of always in the spotlight a little bit in terms of like, you should be like, I know loads of coaches out there, like Rob, who we had on the last show, doing 10,000 push-ups is like insane. So you always feel like there's that little push that you need to add because you are a coach. But again, we are real people. We have normal lives. It's about finding balance in that and maybe putting focus in other areas as well.
I did 150 push-ups yesterday. I'm sore as fuck.
I did 350.
I know you're nuts as well. Not,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm suck at push-ups.
Mate, what's the, I mean, I kind of know, but I want to put it on you. The interaction been like from your members since this has all happened then, you know, the ones that have carried on with the program? Because I always feel like, and I've been saying this a lot recently, like the best workout you can do is the one that you actually do. And I just feel like, again, it ties into this community kind of podcast, having a sense of doing it for a reason, because you're part of a community, because you're comparing times or scores to other people. If you are doing that, that's cool, to prove that you are still working out. Are people missing that? And what's the interaction been like with your members?
Interaction's been pretty good, like with our coaching team, 2 members. We're just trying to up that as best we can. It's like I said earlier, we see these people day in, day out, and we've sort of neglected that. It's a luxury to be able to go and, oh, hey, well, how are you? How did you sleep last night? Is now we have to force ourselves to create the interaction. So that's one thing. But I feel like we've got groups of people, and we've got our gym is not cliquey at all. We're one nice big open space, one nice big open community, but there are pockets of people that are more friendly with each other than others, and it's cool to see those interactions. Like there's a bunch of different WhatsApp groups, people creating workouts for each other and challenging each other and stuff like that. So that's really cool to see that they've kind of taking care of themselves within the community. And obviously our job as coaches and leaders of that community is to make sure that we're making sure that they get what they need from this kind of forced isolation.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's been I like that WhatsApp group with, who is it, Key, just putting up like,
are you in there as well?
Yeah, I'm in there as well. Just horrendous workouts.
I know, what's wrong with that man?
Yeah,
I'm gonna offer him a job after this. He wants to give up teaching and start coaching. He can program workouts for us.
Yeah, mate, he can run his own class. He can probably start doing some FYF workouts by the.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I can start. We've become very resourceful with very limited movement, so we give him access to assault bikes and sleds. I'm sure he'll get very creative.
Mate, just before we wrap this up, is there anything that you found has been super useful for you, whether it's training related or, you know, getting on with work and that type of stuff in the isolation? Is there anything that's really worked for you?
Yeah, a couple of things. Like I said, movement or just adjusting your focus. Most people have training goals, which this is why they've signed up for the gym, or they've got something they want to achieve or work towards. Just put that on the shelf. Don't completely forget about it. For me, like I said, I was training for something which isn't going to happen anymore. So I've just pushed that to the side, but not completely forgot about it, and just refocused on just do something every day. Just move a little bit, go for, well, maybe not encourage people to go out walking, but just do something. Do like your challenge with it, get people to do push-ups or whatever it is, or follow a program, and just understand that, accept that intensity or I don't want to say intensity is not as important, but it's not the priority anymore. Don't worry about slamming yourself in your workouts, because you want to make sure that you're in good nick and you're staying healthy. And the best way of doing that isn't always to smash yourself in the gym. Like being fit and being healthy is two separate things. If you want to go the complete other end of the spectrum, go fitness, hard workouts, which are hard to recover from, you're putting your body at risk of not being fully recovered or being super healthy. So don't worry about smashing yourself with training. And I think that's one thing that we're trying to get people to understand is our training environment within our community. People like to push themselves quite hard. And if they're not dying on the floor in a pile of sweat afterwards, they haven't had a workout. Trying to write programming for people that gives them those small doses of that so they're satisfied, but also keeping them fit and healthy. It's kind of, again, a balance of not necessarily just being a good coach, but just being a good person, having everyone's best interest at heart. Because everyone's locked down, they're bored, they want to train hard, but that's not the healthiest thing for them to be doing right now. So just accepting the fact that the focus has changed a little bit and being okay with that. Don't let it get to you, and just be happy with the fact that you're not in a hospital suffering from coronavirus, and just be happy you can move. And then the other will be routine as well. Is my routine's massively changed. I'm used to getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, making a cup of coffee, going to gym for 6 and coaching for a couple of hours, and then starting my day. Whereas I haven't got that at the moment. I'm in charge of my routine. It's difficult. and I'm sitting a lot because I'm at a computer. I've never had an office job, but now I'm sitting a lot. So to force myself to stick to I'm very bad at managing my own time. So force myself to go to bed early enough so that can wake up early enough that I can have some sort of normal routine in between has been challenging. But I think it's been really helpful just to have some rough structure in my day as well. I don't know how people who have got common like 9 to 5 jobs are they able to stick to that at home. I wonder how everyone else is going, but for me, it's been useful.
Yeah, and I think it's just to take away from that. It's use that extra time that you've got, and this is one of the things that I said to the members at base, like that 30 minutes that you're spending getting to and from the gym, or the 1 hour you're spending, you utilize that time and put it into something else. Like there'll be something else that you can improve on. So just don't let it go to waste. I mean, my social media, looking at social media has gone up like tenfold.
Oh, I don't even want to look at my screen time.
I've had to try and manage that, but it's just getting into good habits. Anyway, mate, we'll leave it there. Where can we find you? Instagram?
Base3 DXB, and then me personally, Craig Harriman at DXB. I don't really post much on there, but
you post a few stories, don't you, of the cats and barbecues?
Cats and food mostly. And then I've started BMX, and I used to BMX when I was a kid, and now I'm quarantined to my streets. I bought a BMX, so I'll start posting my BMX fails on there.
Yes, can't wait. All right, man. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Joe.
Catch up soon.